that is a really powerful way and a tool to get people working. For us, we started doing wetland restoration, and then later on green roofing and learning how to clean up contaminated land, and all the while working, with people that had been really just marginalized in our society, people who were formerly incarcerated, people who were generationally impoverished, and really creating these kind of numbers or giving them the training so that they could understand that they had both a personal as well as a financial stake, in improving their own environment. A former dump that I found, back in the late 90s, and that this dog led me to, my dog Xena, who when we were working really hard against some of the more misguided waste handling policies that our city was sort of dishing out, to my community. This dog led me to what I thought was a dump, and it was. And it turns out that we were able to garner enough support to get a little seed grant to turn that dump, into gain enough money to sort of plan this particular park down on the Bronx River waterfront. And it was just back in 2006. It was simply just a map, a drawing on a page. But since then, it's turned into this park right here. And a really tremendous asset, to the local community. And I got married there in 2006, of course, with my dog Xena as my flower girl. She didn't wear the dress. She refused. She was like, sorry. But it really was this tremendous, amazing, completely different light, and that showed them that, even though they were often perceived as this really awful place that nothing good could come from, that something like this could be there, and that actively reflected on them as well. We were also able to bring in one of the largest planning dollars, from the federal government to plan a non-noxious use in our community. We also got tons of millions of dollars of planning. But I think it's just so important that, I want everyone to understand, the importance of shifting, the idea away from this idea that, charity begins at home, and it's something that, you need to do, and I think it's enterprise is actually going to help our communities get us what we need to meet the needs that we actually have as well. And it was that kind of realization that really helped me discover that what I wanted to do was, even though I will always be a daughter of the South Bronx, but I knew that the work that we had the capacity to do, firm, could really help other places around the country unlock the potential of their own place. Really making the link between all of those kind of, social, environmental, as well as economic linkages that would allow our local communities to grow in a way that supported every place on where they were. and so that people did not believe that they had to move out of their own neighborhoods in order to live in a better one. And I do not mean at all to think that, and please, I don't want you to believe that I'm like some like little Pollyanna who thinks that, you know, everything's going to be super easy all the time. I do not believe it. This is hard work. But I think that we as Americans can absolutely do that, because now, more than ever, I think is the time. I am continually inspired, you know, by this man, and I'm sure many of you in this room, if not all of you, are as well. This particular quote was taken from the letter from a Birmingham jail. You know, and Dr. King wrote that in response, you know, to the group of white clergymen, you know, who I think because they really felt, you know, in their hearts, and I actually know the granddaughter of one of the clergymen, you know, the original clergyman who really felt that things were just moving so fast, and they were personally worried about Dr. King and about what was going to happen if this integration stuff just went on. I mean, they were really concerned. And but Dr. King's response, which I think is one that shows just restraint and love at the same time, was that now is the time to be completely impatient, you know, in this struggle for equality. And going forward, I think that's what we have to do and think about, because, you know, it was during this time also when we realized that, you know, at the end of Dr. King's life, you know, where was he? You know, he was also, you know, at the end of his life, you know, he was down in Memphis working with black sanitation workers, you know, who were also given the worst jobs, you know, in sanitation. So he was fighting for environmental equality and also economic equality, because they were also being paid least. So developing, you know, a way to help people see that you wanted to support a full person economically, environmentally, as well as socially. And that's what being, you know, having an American and having equal rights actually means. So what I'm really interested, you know, in seeing is that there is another, you know, hometown security truly is next on my list of things to do. Because what we need are people who see the value in investing in the type of local enterprises that support people right where they are in their local areas, and who will partner with folks like me who can identify the growth trends in climate adaptation, you know, as well as understand, you know, our nation's growing social costs and of not doing business as usual. You know, we need to work together to embrace and repair our land, to repair our power systems, you know, repair each other and repair ourselves, because it's time to stop building the tributes to all of our collective failures.